There comes a time when you need some extra carrying capacity. It may be for a trip, or to make commuting easier, or maybe you just want to ruin the look of your bike by sticking a massive zit on the back. Whatever the reason, this is the Dave Cave, and this is how to install a top box. First, we'll see what is needed to install a top box. Second is a quick overview of the install process. And finally, a more in-depth look at getting a top box on your bike. I'll be using the Givi Monokey solution on a 1999 Suzuki GSX 600F Katana. There are other options out there, but all use the same basic components: a top box, a mounting or base plate, and support arms. No specialist tools are required for installation. In order to fit this top box, I used a 10mm socket, a 13mm spanner, 6mm Allen tool. I also used a hammer and a pair of pliers, and these are discussed later in the video. This is a very straightforward project. There should be no complications in fitting this kind of top box, although the included instructions were a bit vague in parts, and some parts were fiddly, but nothing was particularly difficult. Overall, installation should take about 30 minutes to 1 hour. For those of you in a hurry, here's what the installation looks like. And that's all there is to it. For my installation, I first had to take the seat off in order to remove the rear grab handle. The bolts for the grab handle are later reused to secure the support arms, so put them somewhere safe. There was also a rear camera mount that had to be removed. It's always a good idea to carefully read any instructions and take time to understand them before fitting any parts. Spending a couple of minutes working out placement and orientation can save you time in the long run. The support arms will only go on one way, and because the support arms are thinner than the original grab handles, spacers are supplied. Put the spacer in the recess for the grab handle on the bike, then use the original bolt to hold the support arm in place. Don't tighten it up yet. At this point you just want it to be held in place. If you tighten the bolts at this point, the base plate will not fit properly later. Fitting the supporting hangers onto the bar below the fairing was quite fiddly. The bar on this bike is used for securing luggage over the rear seat, and there's not much room between the rear fairing and the bar. The hanger pushes onto the bar, which I found easier to do by carefully tapping it with a hammer. Once on the bar, the two tabs need to be squeezed together to secure the arm to it using the supplied 6mm Allen bolt and locking nut. Again, this was fiddly, probably because I used pliers to compress the tabs together. Again, don't tighten this up just yet. Putting the base plate fixings in place was straightforward, but the fiddly part was lining up the internal receiver with the bolt. It took me a couple of attempts to get them in place. Just make sure you don't cross the threads. Once all the bolts are in place, they can be tightened up. As you can see, as the bolts are tightened, the arms attached to the base plate move into their final position. If those bolts are tightened before the base plate is in place, they will end up out of position. Before the bolts holding the base plate in position are finally tightened, check that the supports are both level. If not, now is the time to adjust them. If the base plate isn't level, then when you put the top box on, it either won't lock onto the base properly, or the lid won't close because the whole unit will be twisted. Overall, fitting topbox is a very straightforward project. It shouldn't take long to complete. If you found this video helpful or informative, then don't forget to drop a like and subscribe so you don't miss any future projects from the Dave Cave. I've been David, you've been awesome, and I'll catch you next time.